Ha 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 ha. Laughter. Laughter can be very intimidating, especially if you're the only one in the room laughing. In fact, it's quite uncomfortable. But in my 20 years of public speaking, I have learned that laughter is nothing more than an emotion. And anyone can suppress their emotions. You can actually dig down deep inside yourself and get whatever it is that makes you stop that emotion. So today we're going to be talking about stress associated with public speaking. It too can be suppressed. In fact, 70% of Americans experience stress on a daily basis. That fact is provided by the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. Now, knowing that, you feel somewhat normal with it because everyone deals with it, right? Well, let's look at what we can do to reduce it. Healthline.com, they have came up with a list of do's for the day to help reduce stress. We're going to apply those when it comes to public speaking. Number one, we want to eat healthy and stay hydrated. Dehydration is strongly related to fatigue, and you don't want to be dealing with fatigue on the day that you plan to speak. So eating healthy and staying hydrated, working out. Some people like to work out, gets the energy flowing, gets your body strong, run on a treadmill, lift some weights, those sorts of things. My personal favorite, problem-solving brain games. Sudoku, crossword puzzles, those are my favorite. Helps me stay sharp and crisp. And sharp and crisp is definitely what you want to be when you're planning to speak publicly. You want to stay sharp as you can that day. Now, with a list of do's, surely there's a list of don'ts. Well, let's take a look at those. Our list of don'ts are provided by the American Psychological Association. Their studies have determined that more than 75% of Americans all share the number one cause of stress. Big guess, finances. Who would have thought? Okay, so we know that finances are very bad for causing stress. On top of those, we have negative news stories, television, that sort of thing. So the don'ts for the day: don't pay your bills on the day that you plan to speak. Just take a day without that. It's going to keep that worry off your shoulders. Me personally, I might watch the weather or the sports, but I try to avoid the actual newscast. It just clutters up my day with stuff that we don't need. So we've got the do's and don'ts of the day. Probably going to have some extra time once you avoid all those don'ts of the day. Whatever shall we do with extra time on a day that we're going to speak? Here's a thought. Let's get to our meeting place early. Knowhow.com. They have came up with a list to help you with meeting people. So since you're getting there early, you're going to be meeting some folks, but before they get there, try to get there early enough where you can actually get comfortable within your own environment. Get comfortable within the room that you're going to be speaking in. Learn where the podium is. Learn where the audience is going to be. Learn where the entrance and exits are, so you know where the pattern of traffic is going to be flowing. Take this time to bring something from home, something small like a potted plant, a picture of a loved one, something like that. We'll touch on that in a second. Get out and mingle with the audience as they start to arrive. Get out and talk to them. Try as hard as you can to make a couple of friends before you actually begin your speech. That too will come into play very shortly. So while you're out mingling, listen to what they're talking about in their own conversations. You're not eavesdropping. You're not stereotyping. We're not going to stereotype here. Instead, we're going to learn about our audience. See if you can hear what's relevant to them. You may be able to tie that into your speech and draw them in a little closer to gain more attention on the topic that you're speaking about. So, let's move right into our actual speech. Now, we're in an area, we're comfortable because we've already learned it. We've brought something from home, so we're comfortable within that. We begin to speak. Scan the room. Look for those familiar faces of the friends you made earlier. These are very important now because as you start to have the anxiety build up or feel like you're losing the audience, you can focus on those and get a smile or even eye contact. Gives you a little confidence to stay on track with where you're going. Look at the photo you brought from home. Imagine yourself speaking to the loved one in the photo. That too will keep you on track. This information is provided by helpguide.org. they strongly urge to make new friends as well. So now that you're comfortable speaking, you're comfortable within your environment, you've got friends, what's to worry about? Definitely not stress. After all, it's an emotion. And emotions, number one, you can suppress them. In fact, stress, you can just laugh it off anytime you want. Ha 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 ha.